What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you're now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you see a Patreon account. You click it, you become a member. All you got to do is try to recommend music, movie, trailers for me to react to, so click the link. And don't forget to subscribe. And I am here with a special guest, and if you are on his video, then he's going to intro you right now. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Delboy from Movie Mash, yes. And please subscribe and enjoy this video. What is wrong with me tonight? It's 1 o'clock here in the morning, and I'm doing this video because what time is it where you are?
It is 5:30 almost.
All right, yeah, it's late here, so I'm half asleep. But yes, here I am, and with Davey from the 80s as normal. We're doing Jeepers Creepies. I'm telling you, that's how tired I am. Yeah.
Jeepers Creepies. That sounds like some cereal.
That's how the film made me feel, to be honest with you. Yeah,
that shit gave me the heebie-jeebies.
I'll get into that when you get into it. So yeah, please subscribe, both of us. I'll put a link in the video for Cinema Chop Shop in mine. So if you want to jump over and see his, if you're watching on mine.
Likewise, check this shit out. So look, we thought about it. We had a long discussion for it, and we just said, fuck it. This is going to be a spoiler review. You want to know why? It's going to be a spoiler review because this movie was fucking garbage. You need to know the bullshit that you're about to see before you go see it. So trust me and trust him because we will not let you down. We will tell you the truth.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is probably the best remake or reboot since The Thing, I think.
Ha. Anyway, you can't even say that shit with a straight face, no matter how sleepy you are. But you guys need to be very wary of this bullshit, and thankfully, we are here to take those bullets for you so you don't have to go ahead and suffer. So you can thank us, send us some roses, I don't know, figure out something. Send us some subscribers and things like that.
Yeah, that would help. Yeah.
Right? Go ahead. Tell your friends, mom, dad, uncle, niece, nephew, all that. We could take all that, We itching for subscribers right now. But the point of the matter is this. Jeepers Creepers has a remake or a reboot. Like, we were sitting there wondering what the fuck this was going to be, and apparently it is kind of like a reboot. What it does is it kind of like alludes to the idea that the previous 3 Jeepers Creepers movies were in fact just movies. They're like kind of like films that were created around the urban legend of the creeper. They're referenced in this movie, but they don't exist in this universe other than being fictional, like it's an actual movie.
I wanted to say something about that, right? Have you seen Deadpool? Yeah. Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds. You can only take the piss out of previous movies if your movie is superior. If you get what I mean. Well, he took the piss out of Green Lantern and what was it? The one with Wolverine.
X-Men Wolverine.
Yeah. He took the piss out of those, but he could because this Deadpool film was superior. When you're in an inferior movie, don't take the fucking piss out of the actual superior movies, which they were by a mile. They were like trying to, they were referenced as, they were movies, but they weren't very good. I'm like, well, fuck off, do you know?
Yeah. I think this was just its way to distance itself from the director. I don't know if it was more so a shot at the film. I think it was just trying to distance itself from the director.
Even if they did, which is fair enough, they just shut your mouth because unless you're in a superior movie, shut up. Because
that last part of the whole like they weren't very good. Come on, I was like, if you're gonna say that, like this better be a fucking dope ass movie, but it ain't, because we're gonna get to that in a minute. So the movie opens up with a horror legend. What was her name?
I think it's Billy D. Wallace.
Yeah, so she's in this damn movie. She's from E.T. I think she was at I swear she was at Monster Palooza. She's been in Cujo and all kinds of shit. The point of the matter is it opens up with this old couple. This damn old couple is driving, and they end up doing a Jeepers Creepers thing. Like it's the same shit from the movie. Man's honking the horn, and even the horn sounded low budget. Or am I tripping? Even the fucking horn sounded low budget. But it's crazy because even looking at this director, I'm gonna kind of sidestep. I remember when they announced this shit and they were like, yo, this director did a fucking movie and got sued and whatever, right? I'm like, all right, let me see. And I looked up the trailer to the movie that he did, and I was like, yo, this movie has fucking terrible CGI. I should have kept that in the back of my head when I went into this movie, because That movie he did prior had fucking terrible CGI. Like, it looked horrible. The trailer looked atrocious. And I was just like, damn, dude, hopefully this fool doesn't butcher this movie. Fuck, he did. But I digress. Go ahead and pick it up with the old people in the car.
Well, for me, it was the most interesting part of the film. Now, I know at beginning it felt like we were treading on familiar ground here, but it felt like it was based in the 50s because I'm going by the car, how it looked and all that. Because it could have been the 70s, but I felt the 50s. So every 23 years, I'm assuming, all right. So I was I felt, all right, we've done this, but I'm kind of enjoying where are we going with this. Now it's a different car or truck, pickup truck.
Yeah.
That he has. I'm like, okay, so maybe we're going to find out more about him here. Maybe we're going to find out how he ends up with that other truck, you know, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know about the creeper, and a lot of people would say, yeah, you know what, I don't want to know too much, like with Michael Myers, I don't want to know too much. I agree, but
just assume he's evil or some shit.
But
yeah.
we need to go somewhere new now and tread on new territory, because I feel like that's the only direction we can kind of go. We need to know more about him because we've done the running around and we've done that 3 times. So especially, I felt that's where with the new truck, I felt that's, you know what, we might find out more. It's the 50s. It might lead up to something. No.
You said something. You said like build up to something else. Like you need to go upward. And it's crazy because now that you say that, that would have been the best way to find out more about the creeper, to distance yourself from the original film. If you were really trying to make your own shit, make your own mark, make your own like franchise and like set it off, the best way to do it would have been to give us a whole new fucking creeper background or do something different with them, you know? And I mean, they did something different, but it just was a horrible different. You know what I'm saying? So
it was, but then it just cuts and we don't see more about that. And then that was, as you said, because I didn't realize, I actually thought it was an actual thing that really happened, but you were saying no, it was a YouTube video or a reconstruction of something that they think happened. And I was like, oh,
that
right.
was him looking at, it was basically supposed to be him looking at the phone because it was like mystery something or something.
Yeah. I just thought they just jumped and was looking at like trees and shit.
Nah, it was supposed to be him watching the episode of that show.
We jumped to our 2 new characters, a couple, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, were they just not. There was no chemistry there. There was
that. The 2 characters from Cobra Kai, Tori. And, what's the kid's name? What's his name?
The little black kid that I said could probably play Miles Morales, sort of thing. Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, I agree. As I said, like there was no straight away. He was, she jumps out of the car. Yeah, Mom, I'm going to ask her when we get there. I was like, all right, you know, just hitting us with bullshit dialogue.
As she's growing up, by the way.
Huh?
Kenny, that's his name. Cobra Kai.
All right, well, Kenny.
Yeah. So as she's throwing up, he's telling his mom, like, hey, I'm about to ask her to look, man, I'm gonna say this. On behalf of all the black people in America, that was the most non-black black man I've ever seen in my life. I'm just gonna say that. I have never look, I get it. There's some people that nerd out, there's some people that are dweeby and dorky and shit, but I ain't buying that shit. He was way too fucking dorky. And he was just and it got to the point where he was so out there where it was like, yo, like what is the
he got excited over everything. He was like a 12-year-old the whole time. And she seemed a bit more kind of intelligent, sophisticated. Not that far, but she was a bit more reserved.
You know what else they meant? Look, you want to know what else was stupid? They kept mentioning that she's a biology major, and I'm thinking, okay, fine, that's going to finally play some sort of part into how they defeat the creeper. They never did anything with that ever at all. Nothing came of that shit. She mentioned it like 5 fucking times, and nothing ever came of it. Did you notice that?
No, I must have went over my head because I was just kind of with the dialogue. Yeah, Mom, I got the ring in my pocket. I'm gonna ask her when I get there, you know. And then she says, "Where are we going?" And he goes, "Oh," and I'm like, "What? You didn't fucking know you were going this far?" Remember, she was driving. She didn't know where they were going. I was like, "You didn't know?" But all right,
I'm telling you, She mentioned it like 3 times. He said something about the creeper, and she was like, "I'm a biology major. I don't believe in that." And then she said, "I swear she said it like 3 times in this movie. She mentioned 3 times that she's a biology major or that she's went to school to study biology." And I'm like, "Okay, so then you're gonna tie this into the creeper because remember she said something about some sort of animal or something that goes to sleep or they just mate and then they die or something like that." She mentioned the biology of some sort of animal, and I'm like, "All right, cool, like." This is somehow going to tie into how they defeat the creeper. Nope, this fool got a big ass barnyard toothpick thrown through his mouth. This shit was stupid. But
I missed that. I think around about then I was Googling where the nearest bridge was so I could jump off it. You know, that's what I was doing while watching it. But I don't know if we it goes to where to go to a store and there's this woman and they're looking for a map, or was it her brother she
Which
ran
is
and
cliche as shit.
yeah.
They were driving, they saw a sign that said voodoo something, and he's like, "Ooh, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go." Again, the non-black man said that. I swear to you. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this fool? So they go into this place. She's like, "Okay, where's this location?" She's like, "Oh, it ain't on no map, honey. You need one of these." And then she shows him a map, and then she's like, "Oh, thanks." And she's thinking she got it for free. She's like, "That'll be $50." I would have been like, "Bitch!" I would have took a picture of that shit.
Yeah, he went, "Oh my god!" and he paid her. I would have went, "Fuck off! I'll find somewhere else. Like I'll find it my own." But
I
yeah,
would have been like, "Hey, for sure, we're gonna look around real quick." And I would have hold the map out. I was like, "Hey man, hold the map out." All right, cool. Here you go. You got your map back. And I would have just left. I would have took a picture of that shit and left. This is the stupid
I
shit.
just wouldn't pay £50 for it. But didn't she call her brother? Call her.
She called. No, she pulled out this dusty ass phone that was underneath the counter that ain't been used in years, and then she got, "Oh, they're heading this way," and she's playing with the fucking doll. They never explain what the fuck this doll is, but okay. She's playing with this doll, and then she goes, "He'll like her." I'm assuming because she's pregnant or whatever, right? Which also she somehow figured out that this lady was fucking pregnant. You know, I guess because she's psychic.
They're all psychic, yeah.
No, I don't know about all. The fat lady was psychic, and then apparently the girl is psychic or some shit. But remember, she believes in biology, so this shit don't work. But
brother gets killed within a few.
Was that her brother? I don't know who the fuck that was. I thought it was her gay friend.
All right, maybe it's a gay friend. I don't know. I thought it was her brother for a second, but we see the creeper for the first time at this moment.
Oh, when he crawls out of that thing.
And it comes, and I'm like, the first thing went through my head is, are we seeing his face already? You know, when there's no, are you not building up any tension to this? We're seeing his face because his face went straight up to the screen, and I was like,
I think they were trying to show us that his face changes over time with the.
I agree, but they could show us that later on. Build up to this, do you know? Build up.
But here's the thing, though. I wouldn't have cared if it didn't look bad. Like, let's be honest here. If it looked great, I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have cared because it was going to change anyway. Let's be honest here. They ripped off low key, even though like I know he does the little thing with the thing. Like Jeepers Creepers does that, and it looks like the little amphibian thing or whatever. It looks like Abomination, but it low key looked like a ripoff of the fucking Demogorgons from Stranger Things. Like how that shit closes like that. I don't know if you've ever the little monster from Stranger Things.
I only saw season 1 and 2.
It's in. Hey, guess what? It's in season 1 and 2. So the main monster things, the things that are trying to eat them and shit. It looked like that. It looked like a rosebud or some shit.
All right. Well, to me, I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to the first one, the tension, the dread on that highway. You know, now I know it's a different film. But we don't see, that's part of even Freddy Krueger, the first one. A lot of it was you don't see him until a certain line. But they just literally showed us him. And the fact that he looks shit as well, they should have more of a reason why they should have hit it and used tension rather than just, look, and he had some, I don't know, like little, I don't know, spiky stuff on his face and shit.
Yeah. He was, look, I don't know, he was malnourished. He's been living in Somalia for a while.
Then they go to some motel where she does a montage of changing into different.
That shit was so pointless. Oh my god, that shit was the most.
I don't know what. Do you know? And it just went on and on. And he was like, look at my t-shirt. And I was like, we're building up to this? Is that what you were doing?
Right.
You know?
Because he goes, I think we should cosplay. And then she's like, all right, so where's your costume? And he was like, oh, I'm wearing this t-shirt. You would understand if you had this t-shirt. And I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, this is so, at that moment, I'm like, yo, this is fucking dumb. But see, here's the thing. This is where they drop the ball at. They go to this festival, and in the festival, it's supposed to be like, I don't know, like, it's just like a horror festival, right? Where people do crazy shit, whatever. It's all horror thing. Now, me, essentially, I thought that this movie was going to be like, okay, they're having this little horror festival, everybody's chilling and shit, and all of a sudden a creeper wakes up and he starts killing people off at the fucking festival, and they have to like band together to try to kill him. That would be a good fucking idea. You know, that would have been a decent idea. But no, we don't do that. We don't do that. What we do is there's a secret cult that has found out that this girl is pregnant, and in order
That's never explored properly, but it might be in the next one.
Right. So there's this cult that loves the creeper, and apparently if they give him an infant child or something like that as a sacrifice, I guess he'll live eternally or something, which I thought he was already an eternal living creature, but whatever. Yeah, so I'm like, because they were like, oh, something about take this life to get your eternal life or something like that. They said something along those lines. And I'm like, all right, like, I thought he was already, like, I thought he couldn't die, but all right, whatever. So
not explored, but all right.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So there's basically the secret plot to get the pregnant chick to his house where he basically feeds and goes to sleep in order to feed him and I guess complete some sort of ritual, right? And throughout this whole process, like it really feels like there's so much filler. There's so much filler in this shit. Like it's like pointless upon pointless upon pointless scenes of dialogue.
With we got the hillbilly guy and she's throwing
she learned how to throw the little Jeepers Creepers throwing star shit.
Yeah,
and it was like it was so stupid because it was like you shouldn't have learned how to do that quick, but all right, sure, whatever. You know?
Well, she's a biologist, she's psychic, she's a crack shot with the
everything
thingy bone, whatever it is. But then it shows like the camera crew. So we need more people in here so we can kill because we need people to kill. And then you have this shitty subplot. I wouldn't even go as far as to say that, where one of the girls is flirting with her boyfriend, her husband.
It has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever, but it just gets put in there.
She's angry or she's not angry. And then he goes, "Wait, you're jealous? Oh my god!" I was like, "Yeah,
wait, you're jealous." So let me propose to you in a CGI cemetery
with bright lights and like well lit cemetery. I thought maybe the camera crew was there with them. No.
I gotta point this out for those of you that seen it. Now I don't know if you caught it because you didn't see it like on like the big screen like I did, but I saw this shit in the big screen. If you guys are familiar with using like a green screen or something like that, sometimes we have like bad, I guess, programming or whatever. When you move, you can kind of see the glitch happen and it kind of reveals your background, but it goes back to the green screen.
Yeah.
That shit happened like 3 or 4 times in this movie. It glitched like real quick, like, and I was like, did this shit just glitch when she moved a certain type of way? And then on top of that, like they CGI'd everything. The background, when they're driving in a car, when they're walking in a field, most of the cemetery was CGI. And it's like, dude, one, you're telling me you couldn't find an empty ass field to record like you walking in a field? That's like the easiest shit ever. 2, you're telling me you couldn't find a fucking cemetery that you could have did this shit in. Hell, you could have found an empty field and then built a fucking cemetery, like easily, right?
Yeah.
And then here's the crazy part. I know you didn't get this because you didn't see it in the movie theater, but the director comes in and he talks about, because of COVID or whatever, we didn't get a chance to film it directly, and we had all of these restrictions because of COVID, blah, 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 blah. And in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, like, this motherfucker's about to make an excuse why this shit is trash. And maybe that was him trying to justify the overuse of CGI, but I ain't buying that shit. That shit was trash. We are now in a day and age where you could have even reshot this fucking movie at the beginning of this year when COVID restrictions was like lowered. If you really was trying to be like, yo, I'm trying to make this the best movie I possibly can, you could have said, hey, halt this shit. We're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to reshoot some of these scenes, and then we're going to really put on a show for the people. But you don't give a fuck about the people. You came up, you had that ugly jawline and shit. Jeepers Creepers had an ugly ass big Jay Leno chin. I did not like that. Like that's just...
All right. So my opinion is, as somebody who would love to be a filmmaker, and even when I watch movies, I know people watch and go, God, I wish I was that character. I don't. I actually wish I was making the movie, and this is what I would change, what I change. And when I'm watching this, my opinion is, you've got a small budget. Obviously, they had a small budget, right? But you've got a big name franchise with a great character. What we're going to do, we're going to write the best fucking story we can and use CGI as sparingly, because when it's sparingly, even if it's done bad, people will say, you know what, they did what they could with what they had, and people will appreciate it and applaud it. Yeah. But no, what they done is they gave us the shittest story, the shittest characters, and they made shit out of the creeper, and they threw nothing but shit CGI through the whole thing. And I'm like, why? All right, the first, I know I keep referencing the first one, right? The first half of the first one is them two driving, a car chasing them, panic, phones, psychic lady. You see silhouettes, you see him in the background, you see him throwing something into that what was that, big hole or whatever in the ground.
The fact that they had the CGI him throwing that body in the fucking tunnel was
I don't
horrible.
understand why. I mean, how hard would
anybody do that shit? They had a fucking CGI rendering. Walk over there and throw that shit in there. I was like, oh my god.
They had a franchise here, and they are doing another 2. Well, we'll see.
Apparently, yes. Apparently, this is supposed to be a trilogy. I'm just throwing this out there, folks.
Well, all I know is that what he's done is he's got this great character, and he's just made shit out of it. He's just using the name to make money. He didn't. There's literally no thought gone into this film, because let's go to the part where she's psychic. She's having these visions randomly. Yeah. Okay. So maybe she's been there before in a previous life, maybe back in the 70s, 50s, whenever, all that. And she, all right, yeah, okay, and she's pregnant, and there's no, that was just random. We'll just throw that in for the sake of it, and never said again. You know, I'm like, all right. And there's something you brought up that I completely forgot. We spoke about this before earlier, where he didn't fly in the movie.
They showed his wings, and he didn't fly.
You're right. I was like, so we're using CGI in this movie, and he's not even flying. Do you know what I mean? He's not even flying. All they're doing is putting CGI graveyard, CGI background driving, CGI front. They're not CGI. If he's flying or whatever, all right, I understand. But he's not. They're doing stuff that me and you could do outside in our gardens. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they're giving us a shit story. Now, all the character, he looked shit, and he kept showing it. Did you see the bit when he started eating that girl's brain?
Yeah.
Oh, we saw it. I don't think he was eating anything. It was just showing him doing that. I was like, hold on, you're not eating anything. You just what are you doing?
The whole budget went into that brain.
Well, I mean, that was also another thing I wanted to point out. There's the kills in it are a couple of them are off screen, like one of the
most of them are off screen,
and the only one we saw that was somewhat graphic was his own kill. And
what about when he threw that axe at the back of that girl's head?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was very, so we didn't even get the horror or the gore side of things either. You know what I mean? The kills
everything was so quick. It was just like boom, it happened. She drops. Like you didn't really get that moment to like intake it and be like damn or any of that, right?
No. Apart from when he's pulling that girl's head and he starts eating the brain, and then all of a sudden there's nothing in his mouth, but he's chewing on nothing. But what I'm saying is that so we didn't even get the horror or that he's chasing around this fucking house like this is getting boring, and he looked for once we start seeing, and it was constant every time the camera was on him, we saw him, and that was it.
The worst scene in this movie is when he crashed the fucking truck into that tower, got out the car and started walking like a fucking badass, and then the explosion in the background. What the fuck? I was like, am I watching an Arnold movie? Is this fucking Bruce Willis Die Hard? Why are you walking away from an explosion? why are you fighting? Like literally fist fighting with somebody inside of a room. Did you see him fight that guy in the room? They were fist fighting. Why do you need to fist fight somebody? You're the creeper. You literally just ripped your arm off in one scene. You could rip this man apart. And you're
So yeah, he rips his arm off, and he's been shot. He was stabbed. He rips his arm off, puts a new one on. He's going around the house. The psychic girl is having these visions. Nothing's happening. One by one, the hillbilly guy is running around for a while. He gets killed. Then you got the, what was it? Was it the guy with the glasses, like the filmmaker?
The dude with the bear trap.
Yeah, that's it. And well, just to jump to the end, because like she's out about to try and get him, and he and the other guy, the hillbilly, have an idea. I have an idea. Let's climb, because we've never done it before, so we don't know if we can do it. But let's climb up and pull that steeple or that spear, or northwest south thing at the top, right? See if we can pull
a weather vane.
Yeah, and see if we can just like perfectly at the perfect moment throw it through his head, even though we've seen him being shot, stabbed, and his arm being pulled off and all that. So we don't know if that will work.
And let's not even mention the way that thing moved when they threw it. That CGI when they threw it, it was like, I was like, what the? Right. Dude, I was like, you couldn't even get somebody to like touch that up.
If I remember though, as well, in part 2, didn't he get speared through his head, and he pulled it out?
Yeah, and I think he ate somebody's head and grew a new one or
something. Yeah. So really, that shouldn't have been a problem. But okay. But what made then I thought then the crows came around and the guy with the hillbilly goes and he falls off. Right? Okay, he's dead. Yeah. And then 2 seconds later, it shows
worst death ever.
The Kenny, is it Kenny? The boyfriend. He jumps down from the roof they were on onto a ledge, onto another part of the roof, and then I was like, hold on. So the hillbilly, when he fell, did he miss all that? Did he just go up into the air? And I mean, because he fell. So shouldn't he have hit all those other roofs before he hit that? No. So
there was a lot of inconsistencies in this movie. My friend also pointed out.
Come and get me. What'd she say, you bitch or motherfucker? What'd she say? Something like that.
Nah, I don't know, man. She said something stupid. I don't know.
She said, come and get me, bitch. And I was thinking of Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy versus Jason. Yeah. So she goes, come and get me, you bitch. And I was like, here we go. And that thing goes through his mouth, and that's it. He's dead. I was like, all right, I know it's a different type of creeper, but, it's just like, you really, really, really. So the psychic stuff wasn't explored. The cult of the town.
And I really think the psychic thing was only because the lady in the first film was psychic. Remember the one that had that psychic bonds with? Like,
I agree, but the audience needed to know why she was pregnant.
But it needs to tie into something. It can't just be random. It has to be something. It just has to be explained. But you pointed out something like there's an inconsistency in this movie, but like the whole ledge thing. One of my friends also pointed out something else. And shout out to Big Bird. My man told me this. He goes, hey, did you notice that when they were throwing the stars, they threw it at like a Jason mask or something? And he said then when they threw it again, like the mat, like the whole body or mask or whatever was gone. And I was like, what the hell? I didn't even notice that. He was basically telling me like even in shot for shot sequences, like they were forgetting shit. Like they were forgetting things were there when they reshot things. I'm like, damn, dude, it was that bad. But check this out. I wanted to mention something. You mentioned like at least work with your budget and know what you got and try to do the best that you can.
Best you can.
This is why I got to shout out Damien Leone, who is the director for Terrifier. He don't got big ass budgets, but he knows what the fuck people want to see. If you're going to do some shit and you're going to have some bad cast, like some people that don't know how to really act, man, tell the best story you can and try to entertain the shit out of your audience. And that's what he does. He made Art the Clown the most entertaining motherfucker. He made sure that the prosthetics and his makeup looked on point. He made sure that the gore and the effects were on point. And I mean, if they would have just did that, then I would have been satisfied. Just
they didn't even have the budget, even half the budget of this new Creepers film.
Because Terrifier was crowdsourced, bro. So I know for a fact they didn't have as much money as this Creeper movie. But the fact of the matter is this, like, all you have to do is just know what you're working with. And if you know what you're working with, you just go with what people like. If they would have gave us a movie of the creeper just murdering motherfuckers at a freaking carnival, and then just make it bloody and gory and just like people just trying to stop him, I'm cool for that. I didn't need the psychic story. I didn't need the pregnancy story. I didn't need the couple therapy story. Oh, I'm a dad. I want to marry you. I didn't need none of that. Like, you could have left that shit alone. Like, I don't give a fuck. Just show me the creeper murdering people and make him look tight. Like, that shit, like, his makeup looks so bad. Like, he had a big ass jaw. Like, I'm like, dude, he looked like the dad from The Incredibles. Like, it looked horrible. I was like, what are we doing here? And it's like, the more and more you looked at it, the worse it got. Like, that CGI wing scene, like, and then again, we point out it had nothing to do with nothing. This white crow, nothing to do with nothing. These black crows, nothing to do with nothing. I'm like, what is the purpose of these animals? Like, you are explaining absolutely nothing, and I get it. If it's a trilogy, fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, bro, you drop the ball, and I'm gonna need to fight this motherfucker. Like, they need to set something up. This motherfucker need to fly in from Finland. I need to whoop his ass because him and them tight ass pants done fucked up this movie, bro.
They could have kept the wings away and saved him for the sequel. You know, just kept it away because we don't need to see the wings because he's not flying. But hear me out. My idea. Now, this is my idea. What I would have done had I been given the franchise, right? So I would have started this one as a prequel. I would have started this first one as a prequel. And explore, maybe not too much in depth, but a bit more about who and what he is, and set it back in the 50s like it did at the start of the movie. You know, even in the 70s, which is somewhat related to the first one. Do you remember there was
Bust a Prey and drop that shit in like caveman times?
Yeah, you know, just fine. Let's set it back in the 50s or the 70s and explore a bit more about him, about how he built the cave, why he's built the cave.
You just made me think of something. So I don't know when this shit might work out. Look, man, I'm telling you, we need to collaborate and they need to sign us for this shit. Have you ever heard of the myth of the New Jersey Devil?
I've heard of it, New Jersey Devil, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like this myth about something called the New Jersey Devil or some shit like that. And I think the shit's been around since like the 19-somethings, right? If we can kind of find a way to align that shit, then we can say that the New Jersey Devil myth is based on the creeper.
Yeah. But I mean, it sounds better than what we got. But my opinion is, do you know the sequel? Because they're doing 3, right? Do the sequel from the moment the second one finished, the actual part 2, where the old man is holding the spear waiting for it to come out, and he comes back. But at this time, that thing you're talking about, you know, the concert, whatever, the town party, whatever they're doing, that's happening at that time when he comes back while he's waiting. And he goes then and starts killing one by one. Now we've explored who he is in the 50s. We found out a bit more about him. Now we've jumped straight to the point where it ended in the last one, because it was a good, I like part 2.
Yeah, part 2 was fun. And then now that you're bringing this up, it's making me realize that movie literally filmed at one location. Why the fuck couldn't this movie do that shit? It was just on the road, and then it was on the side of a road by like a cornfield and shit. That was like one location. 2 maybe tops.
You're talking about the sequel?
Yeah. Wasn't it all on a bus, like on the side of a road, like in a random?
Yeah.
It's like one location.
And do you know when you showed him flying? Do you know when he was flying? Mostly it was like a bird's eye view, was a camera shot of him flying. You didn't actually, you see him fly up into the air every so often, but it was because it was nighttime and you would see him fly up by the moon. If you use CGI on that, on just him flying up by the moon, you probably get away with that, you know?
Yeah, because it's a far shot. Like, it doesn't really take like...
Yeah, that's what they were doing. And then when he was flying after the kids, you don't see him flying as such.
You just see the shadow.
You just, and you see the cameras following him, you know? And, you know, it was all sparing. And you just said it was the cornfield, then the side of the road. And at the end, I think it was
the barn.
Yeah. And that's where you should start the next one, part 2. And also, when you start part 2, in 2 years from now, when the next one comes out, it will be 23 years. So it'll be bang on the time when he will be coming back, and that party or that little festival, whatever they're having, will be at that time. And you could even explore more of the town having more of a cult within the last 20 years since he's been
because you
around.
could have made it. Look, here's the thing: if they were going to do some shit like that, what they could have said was that the townspeople have known about this dude for a long time. Information's been passed on from generation to generation, and what they do is they feed him in order to prevent him from like running amok on the town and eating like fucking crazy. So what they do is they just bring him the bodies so that, or bring him people and try to satisfy his like nourishment.
That would be a reason to bring people in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, what they could have did was have like, but I'm saying like if they wanted to keep it low key, like they don't want people to get hurt. So like every once in a while they might stumble across somebody, or they come across a dead body or a cadaver or something, or maybe they're like robbing those vans that take like dead bodies to like schools and campuses or whatever, so like they can like, you know, learn how to do operations and shit, and they could do autopsies or whatever. Maybe they could do some shit like that, and then they use those dead bodies to satisfy the creeper and try to keep him like captive in an area. But then they find out, oh, there's like a festival coming, and they're like trying to get people not to come because they're afraid that the creeper is going to come here. But the creeper has developed this big fucking hunger because all he's been eating is all these cadavers and these fucking bodies, and it's not nourishing him enough. So he's like, fuck that. He starts to do that little sniff, like he smells it. He's like, oh, dude, fresh bodies and shit. And then the creeper breaks out of that motherfucker and heads towards that concert to cause mayhem. That could have been your story. Yeah. And then let's not forget that the creeper apparently has a new skill that he could whistle and then paralyze you. That's the dumbest shit I ever seen in my life. He wasn't even. You can't. How can you whistle with no lips? He ain't got no lips. He was putting it to his teeth. He's doing this.
Well, he's the creeper. He's able to do these kind of things. You know, he's able to come back to life when you put a spear through his head, and then he ain't sometimes because of reason. Man,
I ain't know. Look,
we've just brainstormed in the last couple of minutes of 10 different
way better ideas.
Yeah.
So I just realized that I'm stuck, bro. This motherfucker ain't got no lips. No, there's no lip having ass man just whistle. That makes no sense to me. I am. My mind is blown. That shit takes the cake as the worst thing in this movie. He has no lips. How is he whistling?
Because he's the creeper. He's able to do that.
Peel your lips back and try to whistle.
I can't whistle with fucking lips. So yeah, no. Listen, this film was just fucking. All right, so you haven't seen part 3. I haven't.
I own it, but I haven't watched it.
Right. So it ain't a great film, but I'm telling you, right, it is. There's a couple of scenes, and I know I'm probably going to get shot for saying this, but that aren't too bad. Like people who are watching this now and who have seen 3 will know I'm talking about. There's a scene when these kids come across the truck in a field, just sitting there, not moving, nobody there, and there's a bit of tension as they're going up to it because you know this is not a good thing, and they're all scared, and they go up to this, and shit happens. They all get chopped up, and I thought it was actually an okay scene. So at least they had some tension in that one. This one had nothing. It was dead. This film was shit. Now, if you have this going, you know what you're going to do. You know what, Davey? I'm going to have to put as much gore into this as possible to make up for everything else. If I can make these kills good, it will sell. At least people can go away saying, all right, you know what, those kills are pretty good though. Like, because I know you didn't like Halloween. What's the last one? Halloween Kills, right? No, but you said the kills are quite good though. Some of the kills are pretty decent.
Oh, the kills are the only thing that helps that.
You walked away with saying the kills are decent, right? On this one, you could have said that too, but they were off screen. He gave us nothing. He gave us nothing. A bad story, incoherent story. Stupid. And the best part of the film was, for me, was the start when you see the 2 old people in the old car and he was in this different. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Nope. I think maybe he started off doing that and he was like, I don't know what else to do. I actually think the writer of this film, what he was doing was he was writing the film per scene. So every time they cut, he said, all right, give me a few minutes and we can write the next one. You know, because that's what I think he was doing. Yeah, he was writing. Hold on. Yeah, how do we know that? How will the audience know that she knows? She's psychic. Okay, yeah. Right. And then what? Yeah. How we kill him? Throw a spear through. He said, okay, yeah, all right, just do
And then
that.
he whistles, but he ain't got no lips. Whatever, they'll believe it.
Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? It's like she's. So yeah. So they're gonna do 2 more.
And they're gonna be shit. Well, look, honestly, I think it depends on the reception of this one. My theater had about 12 to 14 people in it. My homeboy saw it on opening day. He said his theater had about 30. He said his theater had like 30 people in it. So apparently people are actually going to see this fucking movie. And let me please explain something to people. I'm gonna just random. This has nothing to do with the creeper at all. This is just about something called etiquette. If you get to pick your fucking seats in the movie theater, why the fuck you gonna sit directly next to somebody in a seat that's taken? Like, if there's a whole row available, why the fuck would you pick the 2 seats next to people? You weird motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's some weird shit. That's like you pissing in a urinal and then you decide I want to piss right next to you.
I know why. They're subscribers and they wanted to sit next to their favorite YouTuber.
These motherfuckers don't know me.
Since their favorite YouTuber was in the UK, they set to the next one. You know what I mean? So as I say, like, no, but I agree. You know, like when I used to take buses or stuff like that, or trains or whatever years ago, and the place is empty and the person has to sit next. What the fuck off? What the fuck?
Right?
You know, I know I'm gorgeous and all, but you know, seriously,
it's really like somebody pissing next to you with a room full of urinals.
So is that what happened to you then? Yeah.
Yes. All right. So this is all right. Funny story. These motherfuckers walked in late as shit, bro. I mean, like they walked in like maybe 15 minutes. The movie already started, and then I'm like, because I was looking online to see like how many seats were bought in the movie theater because I thought we were gonna be alone. Like I'm thinking nobody's gonna watch this fucking movie. Thinking like nobody knows about this fucking movie. These motherfuckers walk in late as shit. This motherfucker sits direct, and then I'm looking at the online tickets, and I'm like, there's 2 people that bought seats right next to us. Like, why the fuck would you buy seats right next to us? Like, we bought our tickets first. We was the first ones to buy tickets, so they had to buy that shit afterwards. They bought their shit right next to us. And then like most people do like 1 seat apart. They didn't. They was like, I'm gonna sit right next to whoever the fuck it is in this aisle. So not only did this motherfucker sit next to me, but this motherfucker fell asleep like 20 minutes before the movie even ended. We all walked out the movie theater and both of them motherfuckers was knocked out. And I'm just like, that's bad. That's bad shit. But
I just don't see the point of going. If I miss 2 minutes of the beginning of a movie, I'm not watching it. I'm never late. I'm not watching it.
I get bothered by that shit. If I even missed a minute, I don't even like pissing during the movie. Like I feel so bad when I have to leave the piss.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, and I hate it. But you know, as I say, people are stupid. And but I have a question for people who are watching this video. Now, along with subscribing, I have a question for people who's probably seen it. Let us know what your ideas would be better. Give us a quick summary, quick paragraph on an idea for how this film, a story of this film could be better. Give us, like, we just threw a few ideas out there about what we thought was better ideas for this film. Give us, I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think that you could do a better story? And if so, just do a little paragraph. Tell us your storyline. Give us what you would have made this film better, because anything would have worked. But I'm curious.
Hey, I got an idea, and I'm gonna tell. I got an idea for a video segment. I'll tell you off air. But I just wanted to let you know that you just gave me a fucking idea. All right, so that's our fucking review. This movie was trash. It was about soda. Throw it in the fucking dumpster. This shit is bodied. It's horrible. Send that shit to hell directly. Express mail. What's the way to get? What's the fastest mail you got out there?
Fastest what?
Like what's like
mail.
Our shit is like expedited. Like if you get some shit expedited, like what's the fastest mail?
It's express mail.
Express mail. Fuck it. We send an express mail to hell. That shit was whack. Save yourself the money. We did the fucking the groundwork for you. It's a dirty job. Somebody got to do it. We saw this bullshit and we reviewed it for you. So we saved you. So do us a favor and go ahead and subscribe to this channel. This man right here, Del Boy, Movie Mash, he trash. Now I'll just play it. Nah, but I love this guy right here, dude. Go subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to my channel because you know we got the good content here. And then that's it, man. This video's gone on long enough, and we will see you guys.
Write a paragraph and tell us what you think would have made this a better storyline for this movie.
If you made it this far in this video, then yes, do that. But we will see you guys. We'll see you guys next time, man. Adios, man.
Yeah.